Almost half of British adults are deficient in the one vitamin that controls your immune system, your mood, and your sleep, and their doctors are not testing for it. Not because they do not care. Because the NHS threshold for deficiency is set so low that you can be functionally depleted for years and still be told your levels are fine. That gap between what is technically normal and what your body actually needs is silently harming the health of millions of people across the UK right now. And the worst part? The symptoms look exactly like stress, aging, and modern life. So nobody connects the dots. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you will know exactly what to look for, what to ask your GP, and what to do about it today. Let us start with the numbers, because they are genuinely staggering. A 2023 NHS England analysis found that 49.5% of adults in England have suboptimal vitamin D levels. That is roughly 1 in every 2 people walking around with a body that cannot perform basic biological functions properly. And that figure spikes dramatically in winter. Between October and March, when UVB radiation in the UK is too weak to trigger skin synthesis at all, that number climbs even higher. The UK sits between 50 and 60 degrees north latitude. For nearly half the year, no amount of time outdoors will allow your skin to produce vitamin D. The sun simply is not strong enough. Add to that the cultural shift indoors, remote work, streaming, longer commutes, and you have created conditions where deficiency is not the exception. It is the statistical norm. But here is what makes this particularly damaging. The symptoms of low vitamin D are so common, so embedded in everyday British life, that they have become normalized. Fatigue that does not improve with sleep. Low mood that worsens from October through February. Frequent colds and infections. Bone aches that get blamed on age. Brain fog that gets blamed on work. Every single one of these is a known, documented consequence of insufficient vitamin D. And most people never make the connection. Coming up, why your GP's blood test might be giving you a false sense of security. Here is where the situation gets genuinely frustrating. The NHS defines vitamin D deficiency as a serum level below 25 nanomoles per litre. That is the cutoff. Below 25, you are deficient. But most functional medicine practitioners and a growing body of peer-reviewed research suggests that optimal vitamin D function, the level at which your immune system, your mood regulation, and your bone health actually work properly, requires levels between 75 and 150 nanomoles per litre. That is 3 to 6 times higher than the NHS deficiency threshold. So if you have ever had a vitamin D test come back and been told you are fine at 30 or 40 nanomoles per litre, what that actually means is, you are not critically deficient. It does not mean your body has enough vitamin D to function well. A level of 35 nanomoles per litre is technically not deficient by NHS standards. But at that level, your T cells, the frontline soldiers of your immune system, cannot activate properly. Your serotonin synthesis is impaired. Your sleep regulation is disrupted. You are not fine. You are running on empty and being told the tank is half full. The solution is not to distrust your GP. It is to ask the right question. Do not ask if you are deficient. Ask what your actual level is, in numbers, and compare it against the functional optimum range. That single shift could change everything. But there is more to this story, because vitamin D does not work alone. Stay with me. Most people think of vitamin D as a bone vitamin. That is how it has been marketed for decades. Calcium, bones, rickets. But that framing drastically undersells what this molecule actually does in the human body. Vitamin D is technically a hormone. It behaves like a hormone. And it has receptors, docking sites, in virtually every tissue in your body. Your heart, your brain, your gut lining, your immune cells, your pancreas, When vitamin D binds to those receptors, it activates gene expression. It literally switches genes on and off. Genes involved in inflammation control, in cell growth regulation, in pathogen defense. This is not a niche supplement. This is a master regulatory molecule, and half of British adults do not have enough of it. The immune implications alone are profound. Vitamin D supports the production of cathelicidin and defensins, antimicrobial peptides that are your body's first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. Multiple studies have shown that people with higher vitamin D levels have significantly lower rates of respiratory infection. One large-scale meta-analysis found that daily or weekly supplementation helped reduce the risk of acute respiratory infection substantially, especially in people who were severely deficient. There is also a well-established link between vitamin D and autoimmune conditions. Multiple sclerosis rates are dramatically higher in northern latitudes. Rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, all show inverse correlations with vitamin D levels. This is in the peer-reviewed medical literature, and it is being systematically undercommunicated to the public. Up next, the groups most at risk, and why the standard advice is not enough. While low vitamin D is widespread across the UK, certain groups face a significantly higher risk. First, people with darker skin tones. Melanin is a natural UV filter. It protects against sun damage, which is vital in high UV environments. But in the UK, where UV is already weak for half the year, higher melanin levels mean the skin produces substantially less vitamin D. People of South Asian, African, and Caribbean heritage living in the UK have dramatically lower vitamin D levels on average. This is a serious, under-discussed health disparity. Second, people over 65. As you age, your skin becomes far less efficient at synthesizing vitamin D, by some estimates, 4 times less efficient than younger skin. Third, people who work indoors full-time, which, post-pandemic, is a growing majority of the working-age population. And fourth, this surprises many people, those eating a predominantly plant-based diet. Vitamin D3, the most bioavailable form, comes almost exclusively from animal sources, oily fish, egg yolks, liver. D2, the plant form, is significantly less potent. If you are vegan and not supplementing specifically with D3 or the algae-based D3 alternative, your levels are almost certainly low. The NHS recommendation of 10 micrograms, 400 IU, per day is widely considered insufficient by current research. Most experts now suggest 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily as a maintenance dose for UK adults, with those who are deficient potentially needing supervised higher doses to restore levels. Now let us talk about what you can actually do. This is not medical advice. Always speak to your GP or a qualified health professional before changing your supplementation, especially at higher doses. What follows is general information to help you have a more informed conversation with your doctor. The first step is to get your actual level tested. In the UK, you can request a 25-hydroxyvitamin D blood test from your GP, or order a home finger prick test privately for around £30 to £40. Once you know your number, you can take targeted action. For most UK adults, a daily supplement of 1,000 to 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 is considered a safe, evidence-backed baseline through the autumn and winter months. Vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, is the form your skin naturally produces and is better absorbed than D2. Look for supplements that pair D3 with vitamin K2. This matters because vitamin D supports calcium absorption, and K2 helps ensure that calcium is directed appropriately. They work synergistically. Take your vitamin D with a meal that contains healthy fat, avocado, olive oil, oily fish, because it is a fat-soluble vitamin and absorption increases significantly with dietary fat. In summer months, from roughly April to September in the UK, Aim for 10 to 20 minutes of midday sun exposure on your arms and legs. That window is enough for most light-skinned adults to produce meaningful amounts. Darker-skinned individuals may need longer. Finally, retesting after 3 to 4 months of supplementation will show you whether your levels have actually responded. Test, supplement, retest, and adjust. If anything in this video surprised you, the testing thresholds, the immune connections, the scale of the problem, share it with someone who needs to hear it. A parent, a colleague, a friend who has been exhausted and told everything is normal. The information exists. It just is not reaching the people who need it. If you want to go deeper on the nutrients that quietly shape your health, subscribe to Healing Roots, because we cover exactly this: the evidence-backed, overlooked connections between what is missing from your body and how you feel every single day. This is not medical advice. Always consult a qualified health professional before changing your supplementation. But knowledge is the first step, and now you have it. Take back your health naturally.